Hi, Tony O'Driscoll here. Welcome to the final installment of Everyday Superhero Backstory. Gary Bowles, who is with Singularity University and author of The Next Rules of Work, was kind enough to say, Everyday Superhero shows us the new mindset, skill set, and tool set required to lead organizational transformation from the middle out. And that becomes absolutely key here as we go into the final stretch of the hero's journey. We are now at the Atonement. So at this point in time, the new approach, by taking a people-centered approach, by using breakthrough innovation, by listening to the low person on the totem pole, by enlisting the intern, there was breakthrough innovation that created these pod distribution networks that helped the world. In the story, essentially, it's about saving humanity. They figure out the reconfigs. They digitize that with Noob's help, and they create a pod network so that the most remote village in the Annapurna region of Nepal, you can see these two people, the mother and her son are the last two people on the planet to receive their figs. So now all of a sudden, the whole world is inoculated against the FUD on day 89. The world has been saved. And of course, because the world has been saved, there is a huge celebration there. You can see Chief Muck saying, "We did it." And so Mae and her merry band of superheroes, by applying the people-centered approach, saved humanity from a life of permafud. Now, of course, the Prime Minister is very thankful to the organization. And to be fair, Chief Muck says, "We all know who's responsible, Mae. I hereby pronounce you as Doe's new Chief Muck." So essentially, he's saying because she was so successful, he wants to promote her to become chief executive. And Mae's response is, she politely declines and says, "I can do more good working from the middle out, and that's where I want to stay." And everybody around her says, "Hip, hip, hooray for middle out Mae." And that's the idea, is that, leadership is a system and leadership needs to be operated from the middle out. And Mae personifies that. As she's leaving, of course, she runs into Trickster, who says, well, hooray for you. You flipped the muck hierarchy upside down and you worked the network from the middle out, which is essentially what Mae did. And because of this, the world is FUD free once more. Go home and take a nap. You really deserve it. Now that night, Mae, in the return, lays down and goes to sleep and falls into a very, very deep slumber. And in that slumber, she has a dream that she's in the elevator. And the elevator, it's like Willy Wonka. She flies right through the top of Doe, and she's there with Future Mae. She meets Future Mae in her dream. And as they're looking down on the organization from the top, you can see Mae in the middle, but there's a big network that goes even beyond Doe into the whole world. And that's essentially a network ecosystem. He said, "You did it, Mae. Look down there. You made all the shifts happen and you saved the world." And of course, Mae, being the center out leader, the middle out leader that she is, said, "Not me, we. We succeeded because we all wanted to make the world FUD free." There was a sense of purpose there. I was just the catalyst. Now, in her deep, deep sleep, she suddenly is awoken by a ring. Ring, 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 unexpected number. She starts to look at it and she says, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." And lo and behold, the person on the other end of the line is Genuine from Everyday Superhero. And of course, he was wondering if she would come on the show. And so that's essentially the whole arc of the narrative, coming full circle to Mae at the very beginning in the first page, wishing she could be an everyday superhero because she wasn't getting promoted at work, and then going through the MERB, going through the people-centered model, saving the world, and all of a sudden being recognized as an everyday superhero. So my good friend, Martin Reeves, chairman of the BHI, says it best, I think, that Everyday Superhero is definitely not a typical worthy but slightly dull business book. We tried to take a completely different approach. Gary Zamchik and I. Gary is responsible for all the imagery and the narrative. I had all the research, but I hope that you'll agree, after having gone through 9 versions of the backstory, that it's probably worth picking up, taking a look, and of course, in the back is all the research. So I wish you all the best in endeavoring to become an everyday superhero in your own organization and bringing others along the journey. Have a great trip.